today is another trading day. And as you can see in the pre-market, a uptrend was being actually uh, started and following through. It looks like a little consolidation happened at the actual pre-market, and then everything still kind of thinking right around here. And then right before the open, roughly at about 9 o'clock, we started this little slight uptrend here, where it became official with the death cross. And then it just here we got a decision candle, indecision candle right at open. And so I didn't enter because of that indecision candle. I waited. So I still was not convinced, although we had the obvious close above the 9. Another entry point was right about the break of that indecision right here. And I still did not enter. So I actually entered on something that was for a put. I was thinking this was going to be a reversal, and no signs, no, just because I saw the movement of the candles, not following my rules, because obviously my rules say that I wasn't supposed to enter this period, not just uh off of what I thought the candles were doing, but just with my rules, and I just did not follow them. So I've been on a streak here lately. I started off great, and then as soon as I started deviating from the rules, yesterday it wasn't necessarily um, me deviating from the rules. I saw the wicks, and the wicks were a sign that I should have left it alone when we had so many wicks following suit before there was a clear decision to go one way or the other. And so that was a sign to get out, and I ignored it twice. So when you ignore those rules, no matter how hard and no matter how anxious you go and get, it becomes difficult to become successful if you ignore the rules. Because if you look back in hindsight and see, hey, if you just follow the basic rules that you set for the strategy, I mean, you would have been successful. Look at this. Look at this. This was actually based on where the entry was supposed to be. You're talking about six. Let's see here. Make sure I'm looking at this right. Okay, we have 638.25. And then based on where a possible exit would have been, the two close below, we're talking about here. And we probably would have got kicked out about here after this move here. So let's just say, what is this? Um, that's about 645 28, and we did use the two contracts today, so that's a $7 move. And so I mean that's approximately um approximate profit of 1406 $1,406. But instead we took a loss of $35 for foolishness. Right here, actually I got in open. Open was another one I had been doing long term, and I got out in profit. So that was a swing trade, but they were in such an uproar. I got in, and I got in kind of at a place where they're so volatile. I got in and I got out a little bit premature, and took a little $2 loss, which added to the $33 loss we already had. But that was another one that paid with me just staying in based on the rules once again. That would have at least yielded about $50 on that move based on when I actually got in and where it went. So it's been a lot of rule breaking sons, SOBs, SO situations going on. And as you see, even after this, let's say I did a waited for two consecutive candles, you still had the close above the 912. You still had a break here, which protecting this low. Still, I mean, just endless. So It's there's a really a heavy amount of mind game because it's when you're looking back in hindsight, you're like, man, this is what I should have done. But it's like when lights, camera, action happens, when that opening bell happens, I don't know what happens to the brain to where you try to make excuses for the rules. And I'm learning that when that bell rings, it's like everything is not out the window because when I do follow it and I follow within the criteria I'm supposed to be, it works out. Even if there is a loss, it's not a big deal. Or and most of the time I've been seeing when I stick to it, it's not a loss. So it's just ridiculous. And then we got a pull back here, as you can see on the 1 minute, it's still rolling. We see here that there was a break back above. So it looks like it's continuing onward. So normally I would have been out by now. But hey, we're out anyway because we didn't even take the trade the way we should have taken. I made up a remix of a rule that didn't even exist and did that. So lesson learned for next week that if you want to be profitable, you got to follow those rules no matter how hard it is. Cuz it's less of a hurtful thing to lose based on hey, the whatever the ratio is to wins to losses of the strategy, you just happen to be on the losing side of the strategy. But the overall strength of the strategy, if you follow it, you the wins would outweigh the losses just simply by following the strategy. Not following the strategy adds in unnecessary losses. So when you have a loss that the strategy actually just a criteria the strategy just couldn't meet and it just wasn't going to work out, you're hurt worse because of the other times the rules were broken. So hopefully this helps somebody else not to do this foolishness when you're doing this mind over matter. Seriously, follow the rules. The rules say get in based on certain criterias, whatever the criteria is. If you're using the break of orb, when that thing breaks orb, retest orb, whatever you're looking for, the break and retest, get in and keep that stop loss based on what your stop loss should be. If it's supposed to be no more than $100 a day, stick to that. No more than $1,000, stick to it because enough of those times breaking those rules, I know that's how you blew an account. I blew an account years ago um, for stupidness. So I've been hanging in a lot longer because I've gotten a lot better on everything that I've been doing. So uh, just following those rules keeps from blown accounts and then or revenge trading is another one that'll get you to where you just you thinking you in heaven. Like right here, I got FOMO here, but I didn't get in. I say, you know what, enough is enough, we gotta stop. I mean, yeah, that was your move had you been obedient to your rules, but because you were not, you missed the consequences that you missed it. Unfortunately, I missed it. So I sat there watching it go into the heavens, just looking up at it as it went. So next time we will have a better report, working on things, and even this video was hard to make, uh, because it's just utter ridiculousness to have a move and know the move based on your strategy, not take it, and then take something that wasn't even the part of your strategy and lose for that reason. So hopefully this helps somebody else out. And just me doing this video, period. Like I said, it was difficult because I sometimes I'm like, man, I don't want to come report this again. But it, for those that just report only wins, when you get to that point, it's a great feeling. And of course, it's something that needs to be reported, but the losses need to be reported too to know how to deal with them. If you don't know how to deal with them, you'll be out for the count once you have too many. And you're like, man, why do I feel like this? So it's normal to feel like a sense of defeat. But if you still have money in your account and you still have means to add to your account, it's still lessons learned. And you can do the simulation, but I do the simulation, and simulation is it's not the biggest lesson as the real trading account. That's why I do advise starting small with a trading account. And that way, when the brain does something when you have real money on the line. That simulation, it's good. And I mean, I'm up high in my simulation. My simulation is doing great. But when it comes back to my real account, it's a different set of emotions kick in with real money than it does when I'm dealing with money that's not real money. A different set of emotions kick in every time. So hopefully, and like I say, the thing I try to tell myself over and over again, this move will happen again. This move happened, I want to say, back in this similar move. If I'm remembering correctly, that was back in April. I prove it to you. A humongous move, aggressive move that was like, wow. And I think it was even bigger than that move. Let me go back to that. I think that was around April. Let's see, let me remember. Was it April or March? Let's see here. What am I doing? Let me get back out of here. Okay, so it was. I want to say that was sometime. Oh, was that about the 21st, maybe? Uh, but that move was like I think I had just left my computer. I took a smaller trade, and it was like, and I just heard people in the Discord yelling like, "Oh my goodness, what's going?" And I was like, "Oh no!" Having to hurry up and pull my car over to see was that. I'm gonna figure that out. Gotta figure that out. What day that was? That took a humongous. I mean, it was a large candle. Um, was it the 28th? Maybe. Let's see. April the 20. Yeah, I think that was it. Yeah, that was. Let me see. Maybe that one was it. It was a gigantic move. That's what I remember. And I was doing something. Let me just go and put the whole month of March in there. I gotta have that move found. I think it was April. It was either April or March, but it was a gigantic move just to prove how those moves would come out of nowhere, and it just was skyrocketing. You're looking around like, woman, what just happened? And it will happen. I mean, a Lord, one single candle was just out of nowhere. That may have been March. Uh, that was one. You see, pretty much the similar. Yep, I think this was it. You see how that was a bigger move than what I just discussed. This started at 439, 490, and what day was that? This was the 7th. This started at 493.92. And as you see, this thing went up to 522, uh 522.56. That's a $28 move. And literally the move happened in a matter of 10 minutes. So this is a fine example when I say, and this is things I have to remind myself and remember. That's why I didn't get in. That's why I did well and I didn't do FOMO. When you see more of these moves happen, you may see a move that for heaven's sakes may be at the bottom of the totem pole and may come up $30. Who knows? But this was a almost a $30 move right here. And it was it was within a range of 10 minutes. Now, of course, we plummeted down, But let's say that we were doing our rules two, and then we would have had an entry right about there, and we would have protected ourselves here. And look at that. I mean, one contract alone, you won't ever get to the top because if you're riding and then if you're just riding up the candle, maybe you would have got around here if you're just following the movement. But still, one contract could yield a very nice profit just following the rules because the rules still apply here and it applied and paid off great, and just being able to protect those type of moves. And the move that happened today actually didn't do that big reversal that you see here, that big drop down. I mean, these wicks were crazy that day. I mean, crazy. But that initial move was beautiful. And then it dropped down like a weight right after that move. So you would have had to have followed that momentum and then got your money and got out of there. But that's an example of the fact that it will happen again. And this is what I try to tell myself so I can avoid doing things that are like a FOMO in nature. So you see this candle, the candle is big, but now you see going up against that other candle that I just showed you, that was nothing. And that happened this year. That happened just in April. So following my own rules, knowing what I know myself, and just knowing that when that bell turns on, it's the same. Follow the rules despite the bell. The bell shouldn't turn a switch off in the brain and cause me to do something totally different from what I'm supposed to be doing and have this type of ridiculous behavior happen to where I miss a move. And it was a good sturdy trend at that. So even following one up in profit, I would have, two contracts, one staying here and just following the other and just a reasonable profit, um, to accommodate for, what I showed you in the previously, where that big red drop, even a big red drop happening like that, if you got your two contracts minimum or half positions, you can still catch the move with one contract, and then the other one is like your runner. It sits back in the by the wayside, just waiting to let everything else rock and do what it's gonna do. So that's it. So lesson learned. Hope lesson is learned. Not gonna say hopefully.